Hi folks, welcome to my humble off-grid homestead in the forest in Canada. And today I want to share with you what I've learned over the past 4 years that I've owned a chainsaw. Sawdust in there. And but it's something that if you're using or you're considering buying or you're considering a move to this sort of a setting, this is something that you're going to need. A chainsaw is something that you're going to need. Let's. I have a review of this particular one called When. If you haven't seen it, go have a look at it. It's reliable enough. It's comparable in many ways to the name brands, big name brands, and it costs about half as much. Unfortunately, though, the place that I bought this from, one of those big chain, don't know if I can say the name. This is not a sponsored video, but you know what I mean. Those lumber, whatever. They don't sell the replacement batteries, so say, or even an additional battery if you want. The battery came with it, and so that's the only one I have. If that dies, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm sure I can find it somewhere on the internet. But anyway, so I really have to start by the safety tips, or not necessarily even tips, but it's something common sense. Most important thing to have is your safety glasses. In fact, I don't go anywhere without my safety glasses because in the forest there are bugs, there are branches, you're concentrating on your thing and you're walking around, there's a branch right there and then you get a gouge, and it's something. It wasn't similar to that, but something happened to me once. And we have a lot of hazelnuts here growing, and they're very flexible, and they're very like a whoopee, like, and they're thin and they're very bendy and they hurt like hell, and it hurt like frig. And so if you're walking by, you're bending them because they're bendable. You think, oh, that's nothing. It's like a little bush. I can push it out of the way. And then when it snaps back, it hurts. And one time it hurt me. It hurt one of my eyes, or it hit me. Maybe I don't know if it was my eye or near one of my eyes. And my eye was stinging for days and days. So cheap dollar store glasses, or you can even splurge and pay maybe $10. I don't think it's more than $10 at one of those big stores, which I can't say the name of. It's a good investment. They're all made in China, I know, but that extra layer of protection. And for me, and one other thing is that wind or breeze or whatever makes my eyes water, and I don't want that. Whereas that protection there, it keeps the wind from hitting my eyes. And also, I'm allergic to pollen, and this is the time of year where this is the third week of April. Still have snow around, and so, folks, if you have seasonal allergies to this time of year, in particular spring, and even ragweed, and that when the farmers harvest, or when the trees release their pollen, you don't realize it because they're so tiny, microscopic. Although some years you can see the whole air is filled with them, but on a regular year, there's not so much of them around. Your eyelashes, which is their job, is to collect them so they don't go into your eye, but you can't see them. And then they're there, and you start itching, you start rubbing it into your eyes. So whereas if you have these glasses on, it's an extra layer of protection. Also, if it's cold out, you have an extra layer of warmth between you and the glasses. Keep your eyes. What I'm trying to say, for the sake of $10 or $2 at the dollar store, don't go cheap. I see videos of other people. I don't know why I watch other people's videos using whatever power saws with no eye protection. I don't understand it. I really don't see the logic behind that. Anyway, another thing that I don't go anywhere without are my gloves. These are one size too small for me, but I like them because You want, when you go to buy a pair of gloves, you can buy them from the same dollar store if you want, but those stretchy ones or man-made material, obviously polyester and whatever. You might think, well, this gloves are gloves; it'll do the same, but they're very thin, and I can even run my nail against the stitching or the fiber, and I can tear it just as easily as that. They're not going to protect you much against maybe even the sun, because they can penetrate through, or the chemicals can leach into your skin, being the largest organ of your body. So you don't just breathe out, you don't just sweat, but other chemicals like here in the pool, they also can go into your body via your skin. So I look for gloves that have the least amount of stitching and seams as possible. Less of that, less places for it to unravel, less time having to repair. Like even these ones, I do really 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 heavy work loads, and so you can see them. They're on their last leg. If you might even say they're already finished, and but they're tough enough that where there's no stitching, it's managed. But where there were stitchings, there are holes now. So also if a chain should hit your hand, sharp chain teeth should hit your hand, or if something heavier should fall on your hand, it can cushion it a little bit more than if you have like a very super thin little stretchy material. That's no good, and if you sweat, it'll stink too. Now, I can go on and say, go ahead and buy those Kevlar chaps, pants, whatever. And I'm never going to say, don't waste your money on it. I don't have one. And what I can say is, as of today, after 4 years of using a chainsaw a lot, nothing's happened. I'm going to leave that little bit of door open to say that I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I've not used it, not needed to use that. An extra like $100 for that pair of chaps, which also makes me hot because it's an extra layer of pants too, and it's hot. But what I would say that if you only have so much money to spend on that kind of thing, get a hard hat. Hard hat is something that I'll give you an example of why you would need a hard hat. If I'm working in the forest, when I'm looking to fell a tree, and that's a term that means that dropping a tree. When I'm felling a tree, I'm looking at the tree and I'm looking to see where um, it's the clearest way for it to fall without damaging, gouging, bringing down other trees with it, especially evergreens, because they have bigger branches, as opposed to deciduous trees where all of their branches are pretty much on the top, and so by the time they fall down, they're only going to hit, if they're going to hit something way at the end, and the momentum will keep it going. Whereas opposed to the evergreens, they're so big and wide from halfway up that they can catch on other trees and bring them with them as they go down. And that's, who wants to bring more than one tree? And it's a disaster. And then to process all of those, and some trees are more precious to me than others. They're all precious to me, but some more than others. And so when I'm looking up and to see a clear path to go this way, that way, that way, that way, that way, which way do I drop it? And then when I figure out a way to go, then I go and try to drop it hopefully in that exact same spot. But life being as it is, now I've learned to do this. It hasn't, not because of something bad that's happened, accidents happened to me, but I've just learned that while I'm looking for a tree the tree that I'm felling and where it's going, over the winter, over the whatever number of stormy days you might have, windy days, another branch of something else might have broken off, or maybe a dead branch, and it's just resting on it, the tree that I'm bringing down, or another tree in its path. So I'm not focused on any other tree as much as I'm focused on the one that I'm about to bring down. So when I do my notches to bring the tree down, and that tree starts to sway or work its way down to go down, the branches that I mentioned that are just loose, hanging around on top, wedged somewhere, they become loose and can come down. Now, I may have my chaps, I may have my super duper gloves and whatever, but then I miss, and also don't forget I have trees here that are about 100 feet. I don't know if you can tell, about 100 feet tall. I mean, as good a vision that I have now for seeing far, it gets so busy at the top that and there's so many branches all the way up that you may not see that was a big branch just not attached to anything. That so it can fall and hit you on the head. Now even a branch that's about an inch thick, nothing to worry about, you might think. By the time it comes down 100 feet, picks up momentum, and if it hits you in a particular angle, well, you can knock you unconscious. And so I don't know what these things cost. I bought this from a discount store, and thankfully, it also came in with my these sort of a ear protection headphones thing. You watch. As quiet as this forest is right now, because listen, with these on, I really don't hear anything. It cuts down the sound of my chainsaw, which is already about half as loud as the gasoline-powered ones. This is a battery-powered one. Still, I don't hear very much. So much that if someone's next to me, I mean, I'm already half deaf to begin with, and not including the selective hearing. But if someone's standing next to me saying something to me, I wouldn't know what I'm not even talking about what the chainsaw with running as I'm actually doing it. I mean, if the chainsaw's off, but I have my headphones on, I wouldn't hear what they're saying, which is pretty good because your hearing, after a certain age, it starts to go anyway. You don't want to add to a hearing loss if you can help it. So these are for the safety issue. I mean, also you can buy steel toe boots. I bought these. They're old now and they're not steel toe, but they can become heavy to walk on, especially the distances that I have to walk with the heavy already chainsaw, and up and down and dips and valleys. At the end of the day, I'm exhausted, so I don't want to add any more weight to it. I've never needed a steel toe pair of boots. I do have one at home, and I will wear it when this one's dead. Pretty much, it's on its last leg, or maybe it was on its last leg last year. If I'm being honest, it was probably on its last leg 2 years ago. It's all broken up and chopped up and cracked, and the water can get in it. But too stubborn. On a dry day, I still wear it. I still think it has some life left in it, and even when it's dead, completely dead, I'll take the shoelaces off and wash them and save them for cordage or whatever. So you can, if you're one of those folks that needs to have all the bells and whistles, go ahead and buy your steel toe boots. It makes you feel good and safe. This for sure, I have a $10, $20 pair of safety glasses. Gloves, well, $5, $10, $15, $20 for a pair, especially if you're not doing a lot of work. I do a lot, and these have lasted me a good year. The amount of work I do with my gloves, you wouldn't believe. I would be if I had the camera running 24/7, it would probably 24/7, not like 5 hours a day. If I were to run it, it would probably take 2-3 days of footage. So that would be something like 8-10 hours, 12 hours a day. I'm in these gloves, picking up heavy things, bringing logs, bringing in trees, and things that branches and things that can be sharp, and constantly doing that. And they've lasted me. I think I paid $10 for this pair. So for that to last me over a year, that's amazing. So that's the safety part of when you go into the by yourself to fell a tree or process a tree. Now, again, ideally, you want to have someone else with you, because say I'm felling a tree. There are many. You may have heard the terms widow makers. One refers to, so when you're cutting the you've seen those, getting the notching, getting ready to drop fell a tree going down, and you don't always have the luxury of having completely open spaces, like maybe if you can see here, lots of space, it'll go down, it'll fall, no one's going to get hurt. Sometimes the tree that's coming down on its way hits another tree, and if this tree, right, is dead, dry, and really stiff, almost breaking down on its own, so there's no give to it, it's very stiff, like you have, like an old dog would have arthritis maybe. If it hits, and I've seen this, if the top of it, because it's lots of branches there, hits another tree on its way down, it can, so this is the most of the tree, and it can break off from here. Many, I've seen ones that are broken up just because they touched another thing. It was so hot, it was so dry and brittle, and it hit, and then this part swung back. So imagine this. Imagine, I don't know if you can see. Imagine I'm cutting a tree, and I'm behind it, and it's about to. I'm bringing it down that way, and I'm standing behind it. And then if that happens, that motion and the tip of it starts coming at me. Now, folks, if you've seen track and field sprinters, right? They're sprinting down in their position, the sprinting position. They're looking, they're focusing. They're in fact maybe even seeing where they're going to go and seeing themselves doing it before the gun's fired, and then they take off. Oh, and let's not forget the surface that they're running on. Now, if you're facing a tree like that and it's going down, and then the tip of it, the top of it, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet of a tree starts to come back towards you exactly where you are. First, your brain's thinking, looks at it and thinks, what am I looking at? Oh, this is where the flight comes from. You're not going to stay and fight the tree, so it's the flight mode. You're in flight mode. So then you can, even if you drop your heavy chainsaw, and maybe well, maybe you shouldn't, that should still be locked on, and you turn around, your brain is still thinking, okay, where is the best path for me to go? Which way am I going to go to be safe from this projectile that's coming at me at whatever velocity, and picking up momentum probably still, and this way, that way. And then don't forget, we're in the forest. Have you ever seen those horror movies when someone's being chased in the forest and they always fall, and you say, what are you doing? Get up, move, run. Why do you keep falling down? What's wrong with you? Well, because it's not a flat surface like downtown concrete sidewalks. It's up and down, there's roots coming out, there's other bushes in your way. That's actually correct that someone would fall, especially when you're being chased by something, and your brain has to be dividing half of its brain power to how far is he from me? Can I hear? Is he getting close? Is he coming? Should I go this way? Should I go zigzag? And then that thing is still coming at you, and you have to figure out where you're going. Part of your brain saying go, the other part saying which way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's good to have someone with you to, if nothing else, to help you with your tools and your water bottle. You have all these other tools with you. Now, of course, if you have, ideally, in an ideal situation, you would have more than one person with you. In fact, you might even have a tractor. In fact, you might even see people get ropes and they tie a tree together from different angles to make sure it goes exactly how they want it to go. But those are all luxuries. Not everyone has that. You see that in videos. But every time I look at that, I'm thinking, all of these people are there to drop one tree. I don't have time for that. It's me, and I get it. Right now, I'm looking around me. I have about 30 trees that I have to process, and I can't really go do it yet because we still have enough snow that I don't want to have to put my big boots on. Oh, speaking of big boots, you might be thinking that maybe I'll wear those big work boots that are like go up to your almost up to your knees for more protection. Well, yes, protection for cold and that, but ideally, I would say don't buy a pair of boots that you have to tuck your pants into, because when the chainsaw goes through it and shreds these tiny little pieces of like a wood chips, like miniature wood chips, and then it flies because it cuts, and then the bottom chain brings it back towards you. And if you look, your right leg, depending on if you're a right-handed or left-handed, if you're wearing one of those boots, it can get filled with those little chips. It's okay when that chip is wet or moist or fresh, but some of it will work its way down to the lining of your boots and then onto your socks. And once that dries, that becomes like many little splinters. Nobody needs that. So make sure you buy shoes or boots or whatever that your pants can fit over on top, because when all of that, this is why those chaps are good, I guess. It becomes like an apron. When all those wood chips come at you, they slide off of your pants and they don't go into your socks. Okay, with that said, I'm going to, should have brought my water bottle. I'm going to show you now. I only brought this in for you guys. I'm not going to be running this. I would like to show you how to sharpen your chain. I just don't know if you're able to see it. Let me just, sorry, excuse me, forgive me. Let me see if I have the angle. Oh, it's too dark over there. I think I need to come here, maybe on this chunk of wood. By the way, that's one of the reasons why I'm here, trying to show you all these raised beds that you see here. I cut them to pieces and whatever that I, to length, using this chainsaw, my chainsaw here. And it's something that when I didn't have that before, you had to do by hand. It was taking forever. Can you see now? Let me just, sorry, me again. Let me just have a quick look again. I think you can see. So look, I have a tool. This is a file. This is called a file. It's just like a round, circular, no, just round, and it tapers at the end. It tapers at the end because so we can remove some debris from wherever that might be caught, and also some parts of the bar has a is this one has a hole where when you're doing your maintenance, where oil comes out of, and so it becomes a pokey thing to unclog where the oil comes from. So what I do, not the ideal. Oh, is that good? Yeah, I hope you can see. So these chains, I don't know if you're able to see, every second chain or tooth goes to a different angle, right? So let me just take my gloves off. One tooth goes this way, the other tooth goes that way, and then the other one goes that way. It's a sort of a zigzag. Now, if you remember, your grandpa, your dad, your grandpa had those hand saws. They were the same. Every second tooth was alternating. That's how they cut. They don't all go the same direction, same angle. This is the same. So the very tip of it, maybe I can show you. The very tip of those, by tip I mean this is a tip. That is where the cutting action happens. So this chain is due for a change. Just the newer your chain is, the better you take care of it, the more you sharpen it. I know someone that sharpens his chain after every use. Every time he comes back inside, he sharpens it. I also know and have a neighbor who hasn't sharpened his for 2 years. One day he asked me, he said, "Oh, how big is your chainsaw?" I said, "Oh, it's 16 inches. That refers to the length of this. That's 16 inches. He has a 10-inch one, so it's about 60% less. And he said, "Oh, it must take you no time to cut down a tree or chop down a tree." And I said, "Oh, yeah, but the way he said it, I said, well, I know I have 60% more teeth, but yours should be okay too. Why are you saying it like that?" He said, "No, mine takes forever to do." I thought, how does this take forever to do? To cut down a tree this lengthwise? And he said, I said, "Well, how often do you sharpen it?" And he laughed and he said he's never sharpened it, which is insane because you're putting a lot of pressure on your motor and you're putting a lot of pressure on your battery, because that thing is like going around and not cutting anything, and you're making this noisy. You're disturbing the habitat, your own ears, and this is going around. You're wasting your battery more, and it's not even cutting. So a file, I mean, you can buy them for cheap. This is a name brand, so I paid more for it. I didn't know at the time. This one's made in Sweden, but you can get them for maybe at a discount store or a charity shop. Sometimes you see them for, like $1 or $2. And what a thing, investment. So now I take this and go on that, and they come with this one came with a a tool that when you put it on and you run it, you can't cut it, you can't sharpen it at a wrong angle because of it. But once you have that, but once you know what you're doing, you won't need that tool anymore. So maybe 3 passes, and that should be enough. What you're doing is not only you're sharpening it, but you're honing it. Honing is like just like your kitchen knives. You know that actually it looks a lot like this. You hold the handle like that, and it looks like it's just a bigger diameter of this sort of a file looking thing. And you run your knife like that. You see chefs do it real fast, and that's not a sharpening. That's not a sharpening tool. That's a honing tool. So it makes sure that your knife's edge is as flat as opposed to if it gets dented. So these can get dented too. Same way, you just want to make sure that they're cutting the angle that they're cutting is exact, and then the filing part sharpens it, makes the metal a little bit thinner, like how it's supposed to cut into things. Just like when you use your knife sharpener, you're making the wedge, or the very wedge of the tip of the knife such that it's thinner and it can cut better. So this is doing pretty much, I would say, honing and sharpening at the same time. So once you've done this top row here, that's not all the teeth that there is. There's 3 times as much as what I just did. Then I just grab the top of the ones the last one that I just did, and I bring it back, run this back. Now I got a whole new row to sharpen again. So again, keep the same angle. It's about a 45 degree angle, something like that. 3 passes should do. Sometimes you have to do more. And if you ever hit a rock, I'm sorry to hear that. That's happened to me, and I think it's happened to many people, unless they've had a really good teacher from day one to teach them, like their dad or grandfather or someone to teach them the right way to lift things off the ground so they don't never hit the ground. So I did the ones that are going this way. Now I come around and I do the teeth that are going the other way, which is every second one. Did I hear a woodpecker? Can you hear it? One of my favorite birds. I love them all, but woodpeckers are one of my favorite. This is really a must-do thing, folks. You cannot not sharpen your chainsaw. You might as well, if you're not going to sharpen it, I would say don't even go out with it. And you can tell, and I'll tell you when you know that it's time to change them. This one is pretty close to needing to be changed. And I will tell you how you can tell when it's time. 3 times there. Now I'm doing the opposing side, not the opposing, the other angle. See, this one got caught. It means that it needed more work. It had the actual tooth had bent somehow. Must have hit something with it. See, these ones are much easier to run along or under. Okay, so that's done. That's enough. So I think 3 times returning it, I know it's done. Now, I want to show you, although I don't know how you'll be able to see. I hope you can. The very tip of each tooth. I don't know if you can tell, one's going that way, one's going this way. This way, that way, this way, that way, this way. All you do is run your finger, not hard, you're not trying to puncture your finger, just run your finger along the tip of them. If they catch even a little bit, I think I did a fantastic job, actually, to be honest. I did a fantastic job at sharpening them. You can tell that if they catch your finger a little bit, you know they're pretty good. And they're catching a lot. So basically, you're only sharpening, where are you? You're only sharpening this one, that one, not the thing that's coming on the other side of it, in front of it. Just the one that you'll know which one's a cutting tooth and which one's not. One smooth, one sharp. All right. So with that, folks, that's oh no, there's more to tell you, but I just sort of a common sense thing. As part of my cleaning, I use the tip of this thing. It's kind of a pokey thing, and inside this housing where your battery goes, sometimes there's, you see it coming off? Sometimes debris can collect. You don't want that. I really don't want any. Oh, and always make sure your battery is not in it. My battery is over there now, because even though it has many safety features that so it wouldn't by accident start, you don't ever want the thing to run. So the stuff here, that all this debris that gets collected there, I have a different tool to scrape it. I don't know why I didn't bring it with me. If you don't clear this, especially if you do a lot of softwood, because softwood has oils and sap and whatever, they collect and and it becomes hard, and it becomes a frig to after have to do when the sap is dried, which is sap is basically amber. Leave that there. Now come around and do the same thing for here. Just all you're doing is just cleaning any crevices and dips and grooves, anything that could have debris or sap or whatever collected on it. Like I said, I have another tool that's like a knife-like, and it does a better job at clearing it. But this could all be covered in shavings and little tiny little wood chips, and you don't want that, because it just makes the machine have to work harder than it needs to. Every once in a while, not every once in a while, every time I change my chain, put a new chain on, I also flip my bar around and also file my bar, because they could flare out over the time, and that's just something that I do. I don't know if you have to do, or many people, other folks do, but that's something I do, and it makes me feel good to have something that's tiny, something that's good. And I found the hole that I was telling you about. See this tiny hole? Oil comes out of that. See, now it's gotten a bit too clogged up. Maybe you can see it better on this side. Oh no! I can't have anything nice. See the hole here? Tiny hole. This tool is perfect for that. Man, I got oil on me, and that oil should not happen. This chainsaw, I've had it for 4 years. It's coming to the end of its life. I'm a little disappointed. I thought it would last me longer, but it served me well. Yeah, just getting rid of anything that can be a hazard or slow down its intended use. Well, folks, with that said, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you at my next video. Let me know if there are any tools or anything that you want me to test. I don't necessarily have the means to buy them, but if someone gives me something to test and do a review on, I'll do it, and it will be an honest one, because I use these things. I don't have a garage full of tools that I don't use. These all get used. All right, till next time, namaste.